Hey guys, back with another video, and in this video we're going to talk about what are the things you have to look forward while you are buying a second-hand camera. There is not much of a video on internet about the second-hand camera, and also like I'm planning to sell this camera to someone else. Now, what I want to do is like before I sell this camera to someone else, I want to make sure that whoever the person is buying get to see this video so that he understands actually what he has to look forward and while getting a camera. Now, as I have the camera with my hand, so I'm going to give you the detailed tour about this camera which I have. Now, if you are buying a first-hand camera, I don't think this video is of any use to you unless you're buying a second-hand camera. So the model which I'm going to tell you will be always on the right side of the camera when the camera is facing towards you. It's the D5300, where it's the latest model from the series 5000 series. And this camera has an external attachment here on the bottom, which is called the battery grip. So we will talk about that in a short while. Now basically what we are going to find out is like, first thing we have to understand is before we buy this camera is like first thing you have to do is like hold the camera in your hands, because that will give you an exact precise idea about the camera which you are getting, the camera which you're going to deal with rest of your 2 to 3 years, how much of time you are thinking to spend with the camera. So basically the look and the feel of the camera should be very much attractive for you, and you should really like it before you go ahead and take the camera. That's the first checkbox I would require you to check. So once you feel the camera very much attached to you, I think that's the first thing to notice about. And once it is there, then you can go for the second thing. Now the second thing being is like the age of the camera. Now camera's age will be dependent on the shutter count. So basically you can see like people will tell like I have like 3700 shutter count, and my camera's age is about 6 months old camera, and they will say like it's 3200. That is a pretty good shutter count. Shutter count is nothing like a mileage which you get in a car. So basically it's like how many kilometers it has run. So to determine that you go for a kilometers, right? So basically for a camera, shutter count is all it is. So when you have the lower shutter count, it means like the camera is not being used at all. For some people nowadays there is a method of hacking this particular shutter count, and there has also been report saying that hackers are replacing the shutter count of the camera to 0 or to the number they like. So be very careful on that. And also like whenever people say that they have lost the bill or they don't have the bill for the camera, make sure you talk to them about this and get to know about what actually is going on with them, because the camera is a huge stuff, and losing the bill is not an ordinary thing. It's not a lens, it's a camera body. So you need some proof that this is the date where the camera has been purchased. So that's one major thing which you require before going ahead with the purchase of the camera. So remember that all the time. And the other thing you can look forward in the camera is basically the aging thing. So first you can go for the inks on the camera. The inks in the sense like you have the stereo left and right, you have the markings of the scenes which you're gonna select, and you have the this one, what is that, on and off key, and the ink on that, and the red color button on the record, and all the other information. So the ink itself defines how the camera was really used, whether it has been softly used or been rashly used. Because when you put the camera under very bad circumstances, so what happens is like when I go to a rainy place or something like that and the camera is wet, so obviously these inks are going to come out. So that means like my camera doesn't have that much of a future to it because its ink is gone out or something like that. So that you keep in mind to determine the age of the camera. because it's very much important to know how old the camera you are really purchasing. Shutter count is also not that important, because only certain camera comes with the age of this many shutter counts it would last or something. Most of the cameras, it can go beyond the limits which we have set before, and many cameras I've seen which has like basically like 30,000 shutter counts, so it's something like that. And even though after 30,000 still it works perfectly fine, and there was no real issues or something like that in terms of the camera's age. So it's fine that shutter count is higher. It means like the camera is really good and person really likes the camera and he's taking a lot of pictures with that, so that is good. And the one thing which you want to notice is, like, if this is 6 months old camera, this ink and all those things should be really there. If it is not there, then it is not a 6 months old camera. Probably the person is simply lying, or it could be not used at all. It could be either case. So think before you buy. The next thing you want to notice is the LCD screen over here. So what you have to notice in this LCD screen is, like, make sure you take off the LCD screen and turn it in different ways. Okay, I'm just using my one hand, and just turn it in different ways. See that it is done smoothly. Okay, because when the LCD screen becomes a little harder, what happens is, like, the LCD screen has been used in a rough way. That's why it is a bit hard to do. Or probably sometimes what happens, if you overuse this facility, the LCD screen will be like very loose, and it will not be usable at all. It will not be openable at all. So just make sure you just keep this open. See how smooth it is. Is there any sounds are coming from here? Just flip it on the left and right, see any sounds are coming or something, and if everything is good, just turn it back, put it back inside. And also you can notice if there are any scratches on the screen. So now my screen, if you notice, there is a scratch card over here. So the day one I purchased this camera, I went to a mobile shop and I asked them to put a scratch card which they used to give it for the mobile. So now this camera LCD surface has been protected by